incredible 12 months that transformed Scottish football forever.
Pure out-and-out attacking football. You know, you're going for the jugular.
You don't feel sorry for anybody in this game.
Could Hearts take the title back to Old Reekie for the first time in over 25 years? Or were they just kidding themselves?
The fitness of the players was terrific. To get this kind of success was brilliant.
Rangers would be dragged kicking and screaming into the 20th century thanks to a certain tough tackling, no-nonsense, mustachioed saviour.
This will be a breeze. Now I'm going back to Scotland. That'll be a breeze. But it wasn't.
But not before he and Scotland took on the Grupo de la Muerta in Mexico.
And he's sent off.
What you saw out there was the scum of world football.
Managers came and went, empires rose and fell, and the rules of the game were destroyed. But one thing was certain. After the calendar year of 1986, nothing would be the same again.
Welcome to Scottish football. This is manic. Everybody's out for your blood.
1986. Back to the future. The 1980s saw the terraces of the UK being blighted by the scourge of football. The hooligans were on the march, spreading chaos, mayhem and fear.
Football began to really fragment, and the coherence it once had as the working class sport, where people went along to see the opera of football, actually changed forever.
The problem plunged to a catastrophic low in 1985 at the Heysel Stadium in Belgium, where 39 people lost their lives.
It seems that Liverpool fans suddenly surged towards the Juventus supporters who fled in panic.
As a result, all English teams were banned from European competitions.
When they go away from our team, I will come back. That type of person. I'm finished with football. I'm finished with the lot.
Crowds declined, stadium became lonelier places, and you just knew that it simply couldn't last and there had to be change.
With the fans staying away, television looked to capitalise by offering more live coverage. But the clubs, whose pockets were suffering, decided to block access to their matches. A standoff occurred, and the TV cameras were duly switched off. Yet the game went on, and the football grounds of Scotland were to bear witness to an incredible feat. Heart of Midlothian topping the league. Not bad for a team who'd finished 7th the season before and who hadn't exactly got off to a flyer.
We had a poor start, 85, 86. I think we're third bottom of the league after, maybe 4 or 5 games. We had a couple of sore defeats. I remember losing 6-2 at Love Street early in the season. And at that point in time, the concern was, getting further up the league and getting into safety more than anything else. But we better this magnificent run, and to be challenging near the top round about Christmas time, the turn of the year, was it wasn't a surprise, but it was nice to be there, put it that way.
We had a philosophy that take one game at a time, keep their feet on the ground, and what we tried to do is take the pressure off the players, which I think we did, and the players responded to that.
We had a really good, solid team spirit amongst the guys, and I think Alan McDonald, Stanley Jardine, they certainly contributed enormously to that.
Great manager, by the way.
Between the two of them, they got it absolutely 100% spot on, and they were a great management team.
Thankfully, by March, the TV dispute had been resolved, or we wouldn't have had anything to watch. And lo, from the darkness came light. As Hearts lauded it at the top of the league, the first game back on Scottish television screens would feature an absolute Old Firm belter. 4th-placed Celtic, yes, that's what I said, against an even worse 5th-placed Rangers at Ibrox.
Chance for Johnston, and Celtic are ahead. Lance Deacon. Chance again for Celtic. 2-0.
Remember Ted McMinn was outside left that day, and Wally McStay was against them. Wally got booked quite early on. I was actually thinking of substitutes and I'll wait till half time. It was too late. Wally got sent off.
And down goes McMinn, and here is disaster for Willie McStay. Celtic down to 10 men. There
So Wally, take the blame for that. I should have subbed you earlier.
The out swinging cross, Cammy Fraser. Rangers. Forms a great chance for Celtic to third. 3-1 to Celtic. Magnificent goal.
I get a second one. And was it wee Flecky get another one?
Lower Fleck. That's the third. Rangers 3, Celtic 3.
It seemed like 10 minutes later we were 4-3 up.
Played back in and Umbre Costa.
4-3 Rangers. Then I got the equaliser.
McLeod makes it 4 apiece.
It was a heck of a strike from Murdoch to make it 4 each. It was a bizarre game because it's probably the only, really, and I mean this, it's probably the only Old Firm game I can ever remember where probably both sets of fans went home happy.
Pouring rain, 4 each, 10 men coming back again, getting a point off Rangers at Ibrox. Everyone was happy, but then we dropped further away from Hearts. So it was points dropped that day. It doesn't matter who it was to, it was points dropped.
Entertaining as the match was, it couldn't hide the fact that Rangers were a club in trouble. The Old Firm encounters were the only games that the Ibrox support bothered turning up for. To put the reason in context, Alex Ferguson's Aberdeen had won as many titles in 5 seasons as Rangers had in over 20. Newly appointed director David Holmes had to act.
I want them to win, but I want them to win with style. And so therefore, I don't really care where they come from as long as they want to be here.
Rangers fans can be quick to make their displeasure known, and they were staying away. Rangers crowds were dwindling. At that time, Rangers were heading towards a crisis.
The average attendance, I think, from memory, was around about 19,000. So on one hand, they had a state-of-the-art 45,000 capacity stadium, but the attendances were down to 19,000. And John Lawrence's organisation, Lawrence Marlborough, became involved in the club, and that really changed the whole landscape.
How much further do you think Rangers can go?
I think you should ask other people other than me that question. I'm an observer like yourself when it comes to that, and I just like to watch them winning.
Unfortunately, winning in the league was proving a rarity for Rangers. In all, they'd only managed a dismal 12 wins out of 32 by April. For manager Jock Wallace, it was a far cry from his treble-winning heydays of the 70s. He'd returned in 1983 to reverse the Ibrox decline, but the second coming it wasn't. He'd failed. A new Messiah was needed.
Welcome our new player manager, Graham Souness.
I was only, 33, 34. You think you're capable of everything. I look back now and I had zero fear about taking that job. There was no nervousness, no apprehension. I would say to myself at that time, you know, I've done this, I've done that in the game. This will be a breeze. You know, I'm going back to Scotland. That'll be a breeze, but it wasn't.
We've got our traditions at Ibrox, and we don't like to see them broke for the sake of one man. Soon as or no. You must be out of your brilliant mind.
At the very first press conference, you're asked, would you sign a Catholic? And of course the reaction is that, yeah, of course I would, but afterwards they said, well, every manager who's sat there have said that. I said, well, let's wait and see.
If he signs that, and RC, right, but Rangers will lose a lot of support. It's as easy as that.
It's 90 minutes of pure bigotry. So it comes to, no, it's down to religion right through.
Well, I'll not change anything on the terracins. No, we'll still have sectarian songs, we'll still be Protestants. And if these players are willing to accept it, by all means, they want to play for the club, let them play for the club. If they score 3 against Celtic, I'll be happy.
You know, Rangers have an enormous support. They'd become disillusioned. They'd, you know, become disappointed. They got fed up going into work on a Monday morning. Celtic supporters taking the mick out of them. And we knew it was, you know, if we could get it half right, we'd fill the stadium.
Graham Souness hadn't played in Scotland, hadn't been a coach anywhere, was in Italy, and was snatched from Sampdoria to come to Glasgow and manage Rangers at 34 years of age. It was a remarkable thing.
I have to share my loyalties at the moment. I'd love to be staying here now and getting on with the job. I know I have to go back to Italy tonight and prepare for a big game on Sunday. Really, it won't sink in until I actually come back here and have a look at the team and see what needs to be done, because there's obviously a lot needs to be done here.
With Graham Souness fulfilling not only Sampdoria obligations, but Scotland ones as well in the forthcoming World Cup, Rangers would have to wait. For everyone else, there was still the small matter of a championship to decide.
Sean Robertson
We started to gel as a team, as a unit, and I think we went from there right to the end of the season, never lost a game.
Everybody expected that Hearts would just falter at some point, and as soon as they get their first defeat, then they'll get a second defeat and a third defeat, and they'll just drift away from the top spot. But to their credit, they didn't, and it was up to Celtic to go and try and close the gap on them, keep up with them as well. That was the main thing, was just to keep up with Hearts. It was so difficult there.
You knew it was going to boil down to ourselves and Celtic.
A chance.
Make it simple. Rero, manufacturers of laminates and solid surfaces for your home, sponsors the football years.
So I need to press which button on the remote? Righto.
Use the help scheme to switch your TV to digital, and you also get 12 months aftercare, so you can call whenever you need a hand.
I tell you what, why don't you press that button there?
Aren't you the expert? If you're 75 and over or eligible disabled, call free and get the help you're entitled to.
27th March is Census Day for Scotland. It's a count of the population that happens once every 10 years. Everyone is included. It's vital to help Scotland deliver the services we all need, like schools, shops, transport. So look out for your census questionnaire, and you can help create a better future for Scotland.
We all live for the weekends, don't we? Whether they're long ones, quiet ones, or big ones. However good your weekend, make it better with a 24-hour reception, hundreds of city locations, and king-size beds without the king-size prices. From just £29, make your weekend a Premier weekend. Premier Inn. Everything's Premier, but the price.
Health matters to all of us. That's why Dettol has started a mission for health. With new mum programmes, Dettol Healthy Habits initiatives in schools, and disaster relief efforts. When you use Dettol at home, you'll know you're a part of something bigger. For healthy tips and more, visit dettol.co.uk/mission for health.
Want a free holiday with your new sofa? Spend just $9.95 on the SCS Getaway range and you could get away on a free Park Dean family holiday. There's up to 4 years free credit available with the first year payment free on Getaway sofas. Plus superb free Park Dean holidays up for grabs. Don't miss the great holiday getaway, only at SCS right now.
16 beef burgers, £2, or 32 for only £3. Farm Foods, great food at amazing prices. Wagons roll!
The bathroom. Your own tranquil space to relax and unwind. Maybe enjoy some me time. Doesn't always work like that, does it? Fortunately, B&Q is the place for everything you need for bathroom furniture and accessories. From a complete refit to a bit of a spruce up. From walk-in showers to sumptuous baths, sinks and designer taps. Everything to make you feel pampered. And possibly the most important fixture, the bathroom lock. B&Q, making it easier.
Dream's biggest ever sale ends on Monday. It's your last chance to save over 50% off thousands of beds and up to 50% off all bedroom furniture. Plus, there's up to 3 years free credit on everything. So save over 50% off thousands of beds and up to 50% off all bedroom furniture. But hurry, our biggest ever sale ends Monday, 8 p.m. Dreams, for a great night's sleep.
Vision Express. We'll see you right.
To win £1,000 by 10 p.m. tonight, tell us. In Coronation Street, where does Janice work? A Bookiesby Garage C Factory. Phone 0904 161 1111 or text the word WIN followed by ABOC plus your name and town to 83788. Calls and text costs are £1.50 plus standard network rates. Good luck.
Make it simple. Rero, manufacturers of laminates and solid surfaces for your home, sponsors the football years.
If you can't spell it, then here's what it says. Hearts, hearts, glorious hearts. It's time to take us so they
The 3rd of May 1986, the last day of the season. Football immortality lay in Hearts' hands. The chance of a classic double, a league clincher, and then 7 days later, a Scottish Cup final. They sit 2 points above Celtic, and in the bygone days of 2 points for a win, require only a draw against Dundee at Dens to be crowned champions for the first time since 1960. For Celtic, it's a case of beat St Mirren at Love Street and hope Hearts' undefeated run of 27 league games comes to an end.
I always remember on Friday nights when the sports programmes used to get put out and Ali McDonald was getting interviewed, and he was always asked week in, week out when they hit the top of the table, can you win the title? And he just said, we'll take one game at a time, one game at a time. And he went through the whole season, he was saying that. And then the Friday night before the last game of the season, can you win the title? Well, we can win it tomorrow. And it's the first time he said he could win it. And then I always remember thinking, we'll wait and see.
You know, even getting into the last game, it was, you know, come on, let's take it on, let's go for it. And we really felt we could get a result.
At the start of commentary, I said this: only blessed with the second sight of the seventh son of a seventh son
could have foreseen Hearts on the very last day of the season playing for the championship, requiring only 1 point. Off we go with one side trying desperately to get into Europe and the other only a point away from the championship, and might get that championship with goal difference. I mean, it does sound improbable.
The referee was an Edinburgh lad, Crombie, but in the very first minute we should have had a penalty.
Paul Henry down the left-hand side turned him. It was a Stonewall penalty. He took me out, and I've seen it lots of times since, and there's absolutely no doubt that I've got it wrong.
And he didn't give it, and I'll never know why he didn't give it.
And I'll tell you what, penalties have been given for less than that.
And I think, without having spoken to him, that there's no doubt that because everyone knew he was a Hearts fan, if he'd awarded that penalty, he might have got the finger pointed at him.
But we were still in charge of our destiny, if you like. Douglas Park, who was the director at Hearts at the time, he got the first mobile phones, I think, in Scotland, and were like 2 bricks. Big white bricks.
Cellnet's Portable is a true pocket phone.
What we did is our scout, Ian Cruikshanks, we gave him it and sent him through the Celtic and St Mirren game, and Alec had the other one in the dugout, and that was to keep us updated on how the score was going.
And a great header by Brian McLeod.
1-0 to Celtic.
Johnston, it's there.
2-0.
There's Johnston.
And at 3-0, Alec just turned it off because you knew that they were going to win it dead easy.
It was incredible. The football was great. The atmosphere within the ground was fantastic, and you remember scoring the goals, and St Mirren were just standing back looking at you as if this is world beaters we're playing against today. We get goal after goal, and half-time we thought, well, we're doing our bit just now. How's the other game going?
Celtic may have been busting the back of St Mirren's onion bag to claw back the goal difference, but with it 0-0 at Dens, Hearts was still in control.
And Celtic are well in front. Hearts, technically, are still in the driving seat. We start the second half. An amazing announcement at half-time by the PA saying, Hearts supporters, keep off the ground when you celebrate winning the championship at the end of the game. Well, we'll see.
Hearts held firm, but the announcer's premonition would come back to haunt them in the 83rd minute. That, and a certain Bobby Ball lookalike.
As soon as Albert Kidd comes on.
We had never lost a goal from a corner all year. We had been really set up ourselves quite well defensively to deal with things like that. And that day at Dens Park, we lost our first goal from a corner.
Swinging in very dangerously. There's a goal! Kidd has scored!
Came through that Kidd had scored. but they weren't sure whether it was Walter Kidd of Hearts had scored. So I think that's why it started as a rumble, and then as soon as they heard it was Albert Kidd had scored for Dundee, then the whole place just went bananas.
We did try to go back into the game, because if we got a goal, then it meant we would have won the league, and that's how we lost the second one, because we were chasing.
Will this championship disappear from the very eyes? What a marvellous substitution this has been for Dundee and Hearts. Looking slightly ragged, there's a great chance. They've done it! 2-0.
Basically, that killed us.
And it goes to Duffy. Seconds remaining, and there goes the final whistle.
And there's the final whistle. Celtic have won by 5-0.
Hearts apparently have lost the championship on the last day, the last afternoon, the last 10 minutes of this championship. They lose out. Utterly cruel.
Celtic, it seems, have won the Premier League Championship, the Premier League title here in Scotland.
I think what was pleasing, it was done in a Celtic style out there as such then, you know, it was pure out and out attacking football. You know, you're going for the jugular. And there's one goal in particular, as good a goal as you get. Danny goes up the right side, and Paul McStay's him all. Ryan McClare puts the ball across and Mo scores, and it was a fantastic goal.
Rain, Celtic in full cry now as McClare gets free on the right. There's Johnston. Absolutely magnificent.
Can epitomise how good that performance was that day. You know, a job well done.
I think after it was stun, shock. You know, you can't describe these things when you put so much into something and it's taken away from you. I have to admit, that's the worst I've ever felt. It really was gut-wrenching. And there's nothing you can say to somebody. Some of the players were crying, some of the young lads especially, you can understand that. But you just couldn't speak, because it meant so much.
It was a sore one. It's still a sore one 25 years down the line, but it's life, and you know, you learn from it, hopefully learn something from it, but it was just still so disappointing.
That's the thing about football, it's an emotional game, and certainly we were sick. The players are sick for the supporters, we are sick for the players, and that's just the way it is in this game.
That's history now, it's behind us. We've got a Scottish Cup final to look forward to, and I think the occasion will lift the players.
You have to put it behind you, you have to get on with it, and it's in your hands to try and win something. Unfortunately, we were against a really good Aberdeen team.
Back with Willie Miller.
My experience of cup finals is that you've got to go through them before you really understand. You've got to have taken part in a final at Hampden before you really understand what it's all about. And our take on that final was that Hearts didn't have that experience. You know, and we did.
Personally, I knew we were playing an Aberdeen team in the cup final who I think individually were far better players than we had, and it was always going to be hard, and on the day that proved to be the case.
We set up to hit them hard and hit them fast, and it was kind of it was one of the easier cup finals that we've played in.
Explosive start to the season for Aberdeen before injury. Davies, they're through it again, making room for the shot. John Hewitt, 1-0 to Aberdeen.
No matter how hard they tried to get themselves back up for the final, we wiped the floor with them with a ruthless and clinical performance.
Good pace. The great chance. John Hewitt.
We're constantly told at the beginning of each season by Alec Ferguson that 2 trophies was minimum. So we'd managed to win the League Cup or the Skol Cup as it was then. And so we knew we had to win the Scottish Cup to satisfy his demands.
Played across by Weir. Gully start. And that settles it.
You don't feel sorry for anybody in this game, because there's plenty of times when you're down there.
And it 3-0.
So for us to have dominated them that game stood us in good stead for the following season when it came round a bit as well.
I thought it was a good open game, yeah. Hearts done a lot to make it so. They had a few chances in the second half, but we scored the goals at the right time.
To look back, I mean, it was a fantastic season. For 50 weeks it was brilliant. The last 2 weeks were just hellish.
Broken hearts, Celtic joy, Dons double cup winners, and Rangers full of anticipation for the next campaign. But for the nation, there'd be no summer break, as we were off to another World Cup. Graham Souness would have to put his Ibrox revolution on hold for the sake of the country, or not. And for Aberdeen and Scotland manager Alex Ferguson, the next cup would prove a little trickier to win.
Next week, here's Sig Sputnik.
Hubert May plan, I will sell you $500,000 at 673.
1986 was the year the shackles came off. The Big Bang. Some bright spark reckoned deregulation of the money markets would just be a super idea.
High performance brings high returns, and the number of flashy sports cars in the city shows there's a good deal of new wealth around.
Hello? It'll become the personal communicating device.
In Scotland, Graham Souness's brand of football entrepreneurism grasped this ethos with unbridled enthusiasm. The Rangers' revolution had begun.
My aim is to bring the best here. And obviously that's going to cost a lot of money.
By the best, who do you mean?
No names, the best. I mean, the best, in my opinion.
There was already a myth building up around Graham Souness and this team he was building.
There's been a lot of speculation about a lot of players coming to Rangers, but we've obviously been in contact with some clubs, but we'll leave that until nearer the time.
You had this kind of bizarre cocktail of things, the arrival of Graham Souness, the banning of the England teams from Europe, and the arrival into Glasgow of a group of England internationalists who most other people other than the Rangers fans associated with the two biggies, Rangers and Dosh.
I feel that they're on the verge of something big, and I'd like to be a part of it.
I was hearing, whispers about certain players like Chris Woods going to Rangers as well. There was a new revolution north of the border, and
that was a catalyst for nearly everything that went on beyond. We were signing the England captain at the time. How much better does it get than that?
This was astonishing. He was a club that was struggling, and a Scottish club, whereas the traffic always went south. And suddenly, the best players in Britain were coming north.
You might say, well, buying the league, you could equate it that way. Well, tell that to the supporters who had suffered so long with Rangers doing absolutely nothing.
Season tickets, which had been round about 2,500–3,000, jumped immediately to 6,000, and then very quickly up to 20,000.
This club were not wanting to make a profit. What they were wanting to do is, if they gathered money together, they were going to spend it again and spend it on the club. So we're just putting money back into the club.
I still had the ridiculous large ego about myself. I thought, I'll make a difference. But on top of that, I had Terry Butcher and Chris Woods.
Rangers may have lost more games than won the previous season, but now they were the cock of the walk as money talked at Ibrox. The rest of the league were keen to put these flash Harrys in their place.
And there's a close-up of Graham Souness, the man responsible for creating the greatest interest in the start of a new season for years. And he has the awesome responsibility of justifying the massive optimism created among the legions of Rangers fans crammed into Easter Road this afternoon. A marvellous setting, one of the great days in the sporting year, the start of a new season.
Sense, not of violence, but a sense of real sort of like dark sort of feeling about the game. Not a pleasurable one, but an intensity that was bordering on hatred, violence, fear. I don't know what it was, but it was just like not nice.
Good play from Souness. Immediately under pressure though from Beattie. Well, that's an aspect of the Scottish game with which Graham Souness may not be familiar. And tempers have gone.
Well, hell broke loose. And all of a sudden, everybody's just piling around me and trying to get at Graham.
Chris Woods wants to take his own kind of action. And this is a dreadful scene inside Easter Road. And off the ball, more trouble as Mark Fulton goes down. A collision with Colin West.
There was an upside to that because, I think there was only... I think they were all involved. When the problem started in the game, all the Rangers players were, even Coisty was in there. And that made me feel that, well, we're all up for the challenge, we're in it together, that'll stand us in good stead.
But the red card has been shown to Graham Souness. Graham Souness has been on and off.
Welcome to Scottish football, and after the game I'm thinking, what the hell have I done here? This is manic. Everybody's out for your blood.
Kirkwood. McCoist having to go back to help in defence. This is Irvin. The chance, and it's Steve Cowan for Hibs.
The Battle of Easter Road proved a rude awakening for Graham Souness's revolution.
2-1 to Hibs. And the celebrations begin among the men wearing the green and white favours.
It's very unfortunate the way the game turned out. Obviously, from our point of view, first and foremost, we didn't need the publicity we got.
The newspaper boys loved Souness because he always gave them headlines. There was always this smell of cordite whenever Souness walked into a room.
I think we were good for the business, good for the newspaper business. We created a hell of a lot of interest, not just in Rangers Football Club, but in Scottish football, I think.
It wasn't just Souness causing headlines, though. After 3 league titles, 4 Scottish Cups, a League Cup and a European Cup Winners' Cup, Alex Ferguson was leaving Aberdeen behind for the job that would define his career.
8 years is a long time at Aberdeen, so it's obviously been a happy time for me. But I think the Manchester United is too big that I was not in any way going to turn that down.
He'd outgrown Aberdeen. Man United was the biggest challenge that he could possibly have got, and it was the right time for him to move. It was a sad day for the football club, but that's life.
No, I was glad to see the back of him because they had been quite a dominant force in Scottish football. And obviously in Aberdeen without Fergie was going to be weaker.
October would give Graham Souness's New Look Rangers their first opportunity for silverware in the Skol Cup final at Hampden. All they had to do was beat Davy Hayes' Celtic.
Why aren't you singing our drinking song? I've forgotten the words.
The last time the two met not so long ago, I backed Celtic. They lost. Tomorrow I fancy Rangers, so the logic means that, well, you can work that one out for yourselves. What I will predict is that this whole occasion tomorrow will be a marvellous advert for Scottish football.
Souness was immersed into what was happening with Old Firm. The whole thing changed. It wasn't just a game, it's a game he was desperate to win.
But certainly in those days, every game was so volatile that, it was like the touch paper and stand back. Anything could happen.
Boys, free kick with Nicol. Cooper brought down, free kick. Looking. Celtic are winning 5-1 and Bhutan. Cammy Fraser is there. Butcher's there. Durant is there and scores.
Durant scored the first one and finished it with a bit of style, I think, with his left foot, which was pretty surprising too.
Edison, a brilliant equaliser. McClare.
Most Old Firm games and cup finals are tight and they can sometimes hinge on one incident. The incident I think it hinged on was penalty against Roy Aitken when he's tangled with Terry Butcher.
Opposing defenders. Goes for a penalty kick there.
Well, Aitken brought me down in the box.
It's a penalty to Rangers.
Completely manhandled me. He actually could have won a wrestling gold in the Olympics for the way that he brought me to the floor. Although he doesn't say that, of course. But the referee was on the spot.
5.5 minutes remaining of the Skol Cup final. Penalty to Rangers.
I actually didn't watch the penalty, I watched the Celtic end. I'm a bit of a sadist, but a bit perverse, but I watched the Celtic end and I knew he was stepping up to take it. And then I watched the reaction of the Celtic fans and there was obviously no reaction whatsoever. And then all of a sudden you hear this wall of noise come flying past you. And that was our fans and I knew we'd scored.
2-1.
I suppose nowadays you have to reflect and just say, well, the position we got on with it. And I'd always try to keep my cool, but at that stage he sent off Mo. And then he sent off Tony Shiver in mistake. And then changed his mind.
He certainly showed another red card there, Jim. Yes, I think it's Tony Shepherd.
For some reason, I came on, I had the ball in my hand, I'm sure I had. Davy Seib says, I made a mistake. I've never seen this to this day. I don't know if the camera caught me. I made a mistake. I said, you're one big mistake or something.
That's not normal David, because he's a nice, calm man in normal circumstances. And that's what managing Rangers or Celtic does to you. Makes you a different animal.
And there goes the final whistle. Rangers have won the Skol League Cup final. And there's a very sporting handshake there.
We certainly showed that, we beat them at Ibrox earlier, but now we've beaten you on a neutral pitch. We're here, we're going to take some shifting now. I think the momentum was with us then.
The first Englishman to hold that League Cup trophy aloft.
I think we're quite a formidable outfit. And then the supporters responded in a way where they had their team back and got their team back. They could go to work on a Monday morning and stick their chests out or wear their scarf to work on a Monday morning. The kids going to school would wear their Rangers scarves going to school.
1986 was an incredible and defining year. We may not have known it at the time, but we were witnessing the birth of the modern age of football. Rangers' untouchable spending power became king as they pushed on to win 10 of the next 11 league titles. Everyone else would struggle to hang on to the regal blue robes flowing freely from Dublin.
In one way it's a great feeling, but on another way it's a tell. I'm not a nervous person, but I've been shaking for the last hour and a half.
He was a one-man circus that came to town. It was amazing.
His reign would be colourful, packed with headlines, packed with incident, and it was great. And you thought, there's no better place to be now than Scottish football.
What do you think? Let's do it. It's fantastic. I feel. Well, I'm trying to savour every moment. It's going to flash by, but what an atmosphere. Played in World Cups before, but incredible. Congratulations.
The whole thing about Scotland, for me at that time, and still is, it's just intense. It's just intense about football. Football means so much to so many people. It's just an incredible feeling because you are virtually immortal now to those Rangers fans.
You felt enormous responsibility when you lost, but then when you won, you also knew part of that was down to you as well.